Hey guys, sorry this has been a little bit late, just been busy the last couple weeks, haven't had time to shoot anything new. But figure we keep going on with, bad habits that I've developed in Wing Chun and things that I'm trying to work on. So one thing I wanted to talk about tonight was...
Bad habits? Wait, who's that from? Is that from me or is that because of you?
It's because of me.
Okay, let's clarify that.
One thing I wanted to talk about was when you're working on Chi Sao, it's a bad habit that I have that I'm always looking down at my hands. And the reason being is, actually there's a couple physical things that are involved with that. And for starters, if I'm rolling with Sifu and I look straight down at my hands, what I'm basically doing is I'm compromising the verticalness of my structure. When you stand in your stance, it's the same principle as if you're looking down at your feet while you are opening up that stance or getting into that stance. What happens is now you've rocked off that vertical and the tendency will be to go forward onto the balls of your feet. All right, so right then and there you're compromising your structure. Well, the same thing, the way that applies in Chi Sao is if I'm looking right at the hands and not focusing straight at my partner and looking at the target, what happens is I lean forward, I'm on the balls of my feet. Well, all of a sudden there's weight on my partner's hands. And in a sense what's going on there is that now my hands are going to start chasing. One thing that can happen first is if I'm leaning forward onto his hands with that extra weight, it's easy for him to maneuver around, opens up the line to hit me. I get off my center and I ended up falling forward. The other thing, or the way that applies too, is simply the fact that if you just look at the top part of my stance, and we're talking about verticalness, right? So it stretches in two different spots. One is at the L4, L5, the bottom of the spine, that's that hip tuck, but then also it's that top part of the spine that stretches. So if I'm looking down, all of a sudden, just that slight movement, my head goes downwards rather than stretching that spine up. All of a sudden, my structure is off, okay? So you want to be careful not to look at your hands. I know that a lot of times in Chi Sao, you'll see videos all over YouTube of guys, blindfolded. Well, I'm not asking you to close your eyes. Actually, it's a different development, a different mental development when you're looking at your partner, okay? Not very easy to do. Even if you just try it for about 30 seconds, it's really awkward. Especially when you're in just kind of a safe environment of, your dojo or your school or your Sifu's garage. But really, in a sense, you just don't want to get into the habit, at least at this point in the beginning stages of your training, to be looking down constantly at your hands. All of a sudden, what you're developing is this habit of just constantly looking at what your hands are doing and focusing on the hands. And that's not what you should be doing. You talk about a lot of things that are really, that aren't tangible, such as focusing on connecting to your partner and also just simply, maintaining focus on your target at the center. All right. Some people tend to think that if I, use this forward energy, or however you want to describe it, that you're focusing at that person's target. And that's pushing, all right? That goes along the same principle as the fact that if I look down on my hands and I'm leaning forward and putting my weight on my partner, all right? So if I'm looking at my partner, then at least my focus is off my hands. And in a sense, what happens is that my hands are much more passive. They're much more relaxed, and I don't seek out that contact or that point while I'm rolling with my partner. See, so what happens is if I'm focusing too much on my hands, I'm looking straight directly at my hands, it changes my weight, it changes my structure. And really, your structure is the most important thing that you have to maintain and be aware of when you're working on something as skilled as Chi Sao. Again, going back to that point about you know, some people, what they'll do is they'll do the Stevie Wonder look. You know, they'll close their eyes while they're rolling and kind of look around. All right, but this, you know, I can't say for myself, but I can't speak for everybody else, but it's not really impressive when you close your eyes. I mean, Sifu might be able to add exactly why, you know, the benefits and the drawbacks to just working on Chisao while you're closing your eyes. I mean,
nothing. It's usually most of the development now is just for demonstration wise. It's just like, ooh, you can't see, so you're basing it off of feel. That's really it. And what happens is a lot of times when people close their eyes, they end up looking to the side, and that's even worse. Remember, you're training, you're developing, you want to be able to look forward, and you'll be surprised how many people look to the side and when they're doing Chisao. And once you do that, you totally throw your structure off.
I would say, you know, in my book at least, you know, trying to close your eyes while you Chisao or blindfold yourself while you Chisao is no more impressive than riding a bike with training wheels. I mean, you know, so hopefully these are some things that will help you out in your training. They're simple things, but they tend to get overlooked a lot, and they make a big impact or difference in the way you train or how you train. So thanks for joining us again, and hopefully this video helps you guys out, and we'll see you next time.